Welcome to This Explainer. Listen, if you've ever felt like your brain is literally running on outdated software, crashing mid-afternoon or just lagging endlessly on important tasks, well, today's source material offers something absolutely transformational. We're breaking down the Psychotech Peak Performance Blueprint. Think of the next few minutes as a literal step-by-step installation guide for your brand new mental operating system. We're going to explore exactly how to upgrade yourself to Human 2.0. Okay, let's dive into this. The source material outlines a 12-week, highly systematic approach to peak performance. And look, this isn't just your standard vague self-help advice, right? It's about fully operationalizing your mind into a structured architecture. It essentially challenges all of us to build our internal tech stack right from the ground up over the next 3 months. Are you ready to commit? But hey, before we jump into the timeline, we absolutely need a way to measure our success. The entire journey hinges on one essential metric, the Psychotech Performance Index, or the PPI. Basically, you evaluate your days with a single score from 0 to 10. It's an average of 4 crucial elements: your focus, your energy, your emotional control, and your execution rate. This single metric is the ultimate stat we'll be tracking and leveling up throughout this whole process. This 12-week blueprint is divided into 4 distinct phases. We've got Phase 1, Foundation, or Level 1, then Phase 2, Systems, which is Level 2. After that, Phase 3, Fusion, at Level 3, and finally, Phase 4, Scale, covering Levels 4 and 5. Giving you a quick bird's-eye view of the roadmap, you can see exactly how we progress. Over these 12 weeks, the blueprint takes us from deep internal foundation building and designing our execution engines all the way out to external leadership and architecture. It's quite the evolution. All right, let's start with Phase 1, Foundation. This covers weeks 1 through 3. Our core focus here is to build awareness and install the mental OS. Because, before we can automate anything, we absolutely have to build a solid baseline of awareness. So during these first 3 weeks, your actions are simple but seriously powerful. First, you keep a daily thought journal, literally just taking 5 minutes to log 5 thoughts, emotions, or behaviors. Next, you map out 3 core habits. And finally, you create an emotional dashboard to note your specific triggers and responses. You can easily use an app like Notion or Day One to track this daily psychotech loop. I know it might feel kind of tedious at first to analyze your feelings when you just want to grab a cup of coffee, but the goal here is pure, unedited awareness. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how to map out those 3 core habits we just talked about. Doing this totally strips away the mystery of why we do what we do. Every habit breaks down into 4 crystal clear steps. Identify the cue that triggers it, recognize the craving behind it, execute the actual response, and finally obtain that sweet reward. It's like a giant puzzle coming together. So what's our milestone for this Level 1 foundation? It's actually incredibly straightforward. We simply want to hit a baseline PPI score of greater than 5 out of 10. Alongside that, we're aiming for an 80% habit execution rate. At this stage, please remember, it's not about perfection. It's just about establishing that consistent baseline of awareness. Okay, moving on to Phase 2, Systems. Covering weeks 4 through 6, this is where we design your execution engine. This is the tech layer rollout, where things really start to accelerate and we automate our willpower. The absolute laser focus here is execution. In fact, the target milestone, according to the blueprint, is 0 procrastination days. I know, it sounds super intense, right? But how do we actually pull that off? Well, by using decision matrices to handle our weekly choices, and by diligently tracking our time with tools like Rescue Time or Toggle. We're basically leaving procrastination absolutely no room to hide. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the way it maps out the crucial work-to-rest ratio. To build a sustainable daily routine, the source emphasizes that you don't just grind endlessly until you drop. Instead, you leverage ultra-Crodian cycles. This means you structure your day into intense 90-minute deep work blocks, followed immediately by 20-minute rest blocks. It's a natural biological rhythm, and honestly, it acts as a total secret sauce for maintaining high energy and peak focus all day long. By the time you hit the end of week 6, with your newly installed execution engine firing on all cylinders, your daily PPI score should confidently push past a solid 7 out of 10. Your habit loop is fully operational, and you're actively mastering your time and energy. Next up, we enter Phase 3, Fusion. Spanning weeks 7 through 9, this is the stage where we integrate and reprogram. We're getting into some really profound territory here, diving deep into the integration layer. A massive part of this integration is a process the blueprint calls trigger recoding. Look, we all have a default state, right? A set of limiting beliefs that trigger unconscious, knee-jerk reactions. The goal here is to intentionally convert those automatic reactions into highly strategic, deliberately programmed responses. We are quite literally rewriting our own mental code. To support this deep identity shift, the blueprint suggests 3 specific actions. First, you rewrite your who I am statement. Second, you intentionally reprogram 2 specific limiting beliefs. And third, and I think this is absolutely fascinating, you start using an AI partner for weekly scenario planning. You might feed it a prompt to simulate a high-stakes UPSC exam strategy or a major project launch at work. You're essentially augmenting your own cognition with AI to ruthlessly optimize your daily loops. At the completion of level 3, you should be executing your habits at a massive 90% rate. And because of this deep, profound alignment of your identity and your daily systems, your PPI milestone climbs to over 8 out of 10. Make no mistake, you are now firmly entering the realm of elite high performance. And finally, we reach the climax of the blueprint, Phase 4, Scale. Covering the final stretch, weeks 10 through 12, this phase is entirely focused on leading and architecting. This is where solo mastery turns into a massive ripple effect. So the crucial point is that you don't just hoard this mastery all to yourself, you scale it. The core actions here involve actively coaching 1 to 2 other people using that perception to emotion to action framework we've built. You finalize your complete psychotech stack, and then you actually productize your knowledge. You design a mini framework or a course to lead a microgroup, maybe hosting it on platforms like Zoom or Discord. And here is the ultimate milestone to celebrate: achieving a continuous mastery level PPI score of greater than 9 out of 10. You are now operating at absolute peak efficiency. But even more importantly, you're scaling your impact and leading others to achieve that exact same state. Let's move to and see how this builds on this ultimate summary dashboard. Looking at the complete 12-week evolution, there's just a perfect logical progression here. Phase 1 starts at a 5+ PPI based on journal consistency. Phase 2 ramps up to a 7+ with strict routine adherence. Phase 3 hits that 8+ mark through deep belief shifts, and Phase 4 peaks at 9+ by building and leading a scaled framework. The source material also leaves us with some incredibly vital operational advice to keep this engine running long-term. It strongly suggests using your Sundays for a weekly review. Take that time to score your PPI and refine your stack. You can even scale this model out over 6 to 12 months simply by adding new group cohorts. It proves this whole system is designed for continuous, lifelong growth, not just some quick one-time sprint. We've covered the complete architecture of this incredible protocol, from building that basic baseline awareness all the way to leading teams with an automated execution engine. Now that you have the blueprint directly in front of you, what will your scaled Human 2.0 framework look like? Just imagine. What could you actually achieve with an operating system like this running your life? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Get out there, start tracking that PPI, and I'll catch you next time.